Hello, I am going to try my best to do this one-handed and work with my other hand. I am going to show you some mask. I know there's a lot of talk about mask right now. I ended up creating something that I think works probably the best out of anything I've tried on or that I've worn. So 2 weeks ago, I have a very close friend who I wanted to make some masks for. Not even because of COVID-19, just because I really felt that she needed some masks for her family. And at that point, even 2 weeks ago, you could not get elastic really anywhere locally in any decent amount of time. So I began thinking, what do I have here at the house that I could use instead? And I didn't want to do the actual cotton ties, so I was thinking I have yards and yards here of stretchy knit fabric. So if you think of a stretchy knit, it's like leggings. If you're looking to upcycle and you know you can sew, you could maybe cut apart a pair of your leggings if you don't have the stretchy knit, which I'm going to show you here today. So I've decided that any of these that I do quote sell, I'm donating everything to a local charity. And I have a couple in mind, but I don't want to decide yet. I'm right now making for some family members and some friends and a few nurses, so I don't know what I have left. This video is not about purchasing, buying, donating. This is about teaching and showing you another idea and another way to do things. So going on. What I did is I actually found a research article or a paper that was talking about the amount of penetration per fabric and what was like the best and the worst. I am not a nurse. I do not know if this would be suffocating to a nurse over their mask. So the nurses that I am making for, I am going to also make them just in the double cotton because I don't know if this is too much. Josh and I have been wearing these masks for the past 2 weeks when we've been going out. Josh wears this to work because he's an essential employee all the time, and he is fine wearing this double layer. So this is actually a Hanes sweatshirt. I got this on Amazon in a 5X, and then I cut it apart myself. This is just your fabric, whatever fabric you have at home. If you're upcycling, just pick a shirt and cut it apart. So what I ended up doing last week is I looked at some dimensions, and basically the going dimensions are like an 8x8 or a 9x7. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be close. So I ended up, and this, what has to be perfect in my case would be my sweatshirt fabric because that's what I go off of. My serger, or if you have a sewing machine, will cut off the extra of that, plus I have the rotary cutter up there. So basically what you're going to do is match good side to good side, and I have this cut to about 9x7 or close to it. So when that's matching good side to good side, then I go over to I have a serger, but you don't have to have a serger. If you have a sewing machine, this is literally all straight lines. It's just a little time consuming. And once I have the idea, you can just run with it. So this is a 9x7. So you're going to serge one end. So I do all of my one ends at one time, kind of like an assembly line. And then from there, I would put that to the side and I do my next one. Then you're going to serge your other side. It's okay that you have extra at the top and at the bottom. That's where your rotary cutter or your scissors are going to come in. If I did not have a serger, I would probably zigzag my edges also. And I'm going to take my rotary cutter and I'm just going to cut up here, kind of square that up if it wasn't squared. And I'm going to cut up here and get that. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I would go back and I would trim that. I have a dull spot because this rotary cutter has been used and abused the last 2 weeks. So after you have that, you're gonna have what is like a tube like this. So at this point, you're gonna flip it right side out. So it's going to make a little tube. I can put my hand the whole way through, kind of like a little muff. And then at this point, I would go over to my iron and I would flatten this all out. So with these, I personally am not worried about perfection. You could take a lot more time and I'm sure get them absolutely perfect. I'm worried about getting them done and getting them to the people who need them. So at this point, if you're choosing to do wire at the top, so like I believe an N95 has that molded nose piece compared to like a normal mask that your doctor would wear. If you're choosing to put the wire in the top, which would be like this. Mr. Fesler likes the wire. I personally am not a huge wire fan. Maybe I can become one, I don't know, the more I wear them. So this one does not have wire in it. It's flippy floppy. These do have the wire. So it really just depends what you want. If you're using the wire, we have this. I don't know what this is called. Josh had this here in the house. You can mold this, bend this. I've washed this, I've dried this, and I haven't had trouble yet. Personally, if you have pipe cleaners, it's a little less strong and it would work out probably a little bit better for you for molding, especially if you're wearing kids and you want them to have a molded mask. Our boys also have them. They actually love them. They think it's the best thing. So what I would do is I would slide this under the fabric and I would cut this to size. I'd leave about 1 inch on either side. So I would cut this and then I would slide this into here. Okay, so I'd slide it all the way into the top and then I would do a top stitch. So you need to do a top stitch no matter what. This is how a top stitch looks. So it doesn't matter if you have that wire in there or not, you still have to stitch this top. So I would stitch the top wire or no wire, and I'd go all the way across, and I would do that for all of them. And then I'd come down here to the bottom and I would stitch the bottom all the way across. So right now it's still flat like a book page, but I would have my top stitches in. And I do this all at one time. I kind of like an assembly line. So from here, I'm ready to do my pleats and I'm ready to do my side part of my mask. So I figured that in order to save time, this is a knit fabric, it will not fray. This is your same fabric basically that like leggings are made out of if you don't have it by the yard like I have here. So I just take this and I make mine a little larger and then I end up trimming the extra. It's a little bit more wasteful, but that's how I do it because I'm doing it for speed because I'm getting these out to a lot of people. So plus being a mom, plus being a wife, plus being a teacher, it's a lot. So I actually take this is cut to 3 inches or about 3 inches, and then I fold in. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one hand the best I can do it. Okay, so I fold in and I would find the center of this and I would fold in the center. And then once I have that center folded in, I would have gone to my actual iron at this point and I would have put in 2 pleats right here. So I think of this like a waterfall coming down. So I put in my 2 pleats, if you need it from the side, looks like an accordion. And I just put this in the center and I stretch it out. And then I would fold this top over like this. You can pin, not pin, probably depends on your level of sewing. And then I would sew around here in a box. So I have my 1 on. And then I would do the same thing on this side. So when it's done, it will look like an H. Let me put this up here for you. So it's going to look like an H when you're all done. So these do not need to be this long. I do not trim them because I want the person who's getting them to figure out what length they need. Do they like a bow? Do they like a knot? What do they need? So when you stretch this out, it looks small when you make it, but when you get it on your face, it's not. When you stretch it out, you can see that you have the mask shape. This one does not have the wire in the upper part. And then you would tie this around the back of your head, and because it is a tie, you can get it as tight as what you need it or as loose as what you would need it. And then this goes around the bottom behind your neck and would tie at the bottom of your neck in the back. So that has been kind of the pattern that I have found that I created that works for who I'm sewing for and what I'm sewing for. If it helps you at all, feel free to use it. It literally is some straight lines. There is some tedious parts to it. I really believe you can do it, and you can really upcycle those leggings or some t-shirts. If you have a sewing machine but you don't have fabric, there's things around your house that you can use that can help protect you and help hopefully protect others also.